Yes, on East Asia. So after having unofficial talks in China, Japan and North Korea agreed to have official talks concerning North Korea's abduction of Japanese citizens as well as North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. Do you have any reaction to that? Do you welcome these talks?
Naturally, I'd point you, of course, to the government of Japan on these specific, and I think I spoke to this the other day, but I could be wrong, and to the specific nature of these talks. Obviously, we remain committed to the six-party process. We're engaged with all of our partners in the region, including Japan, on that, and stay very closely linked up as it relates to meetings and engagements.
So the U.S. won't have any role in these direct talks between Japan and North Korea?
Well, we're engaged closely with Japan and all of the parties in the six-party talks about engagements and steps. But again, I'd point you to the government of Japan for any specifics. Or do we have any more on Asia? Asia, let's go ahead.
In terms of Ukraine crisis, the President Obama announced more sanctions against Russia and asked more support from international community.
Sure.
Having said that, how do you assess the Asian countries' support on this issue? Do you expect more voice from the U.S. alliance countries such as Korea and Japan and Australia?
Well, I know a number of these countries have made public statements about the illegality of the referendum and the steps Russia has taken to annex. Every country is going to make their own decision about any economic sanction steps they're going to take. But certainly, as you've seen through the range of the president's calls over the past couple of weeks, and the secretaries as well, that we're engaging very broadly with the international community beyond Europe about our concerns about the violation of international law here, and we continue to encourage countries to join us in that effort.
Sorry, can I just follow up on that earlier
Sure.
question before we move on? When you say the U.S. remains committed to the six-party process, it is still your position, though, that before actual talks could resume, you would need to see some kind of steps taken on the North Korean side.
Absolutely. What I was conveying there, and thank you for the question, was that we're in very close contact and coordination with our partners. But certainly the ball remains in North Korea's court, and they have not taken steps to abide by their international obligations.
Would you see a positive outcome from these talks, such as some kind of progress made on the abduction issue as a step in that direction?
There are very specific steps that North Korea needs to take. You're familiar with them, abiding by the 2005 joint statement, taking steps on their nuclear program. I think it's pretty clearly laid out, so that's what they would need to do. Go ahead. Okay, go in the back, and then we'll do Scott, and we'll come back to you, okay? Okay, go ahead.
So I was just wondering if you had anything like a readout from Ambassador King's trip to Geneva, and more so, he also said that there'll be pressure on North Korea, whether even if China blocks the UN Security Council resolution. So if you could talk a little bit more about these pressures.
Sure. Special Envoy for North Korean human rights issues, Robert King, traveled to Geneva March 17th through 19th to participate in the UN Human Rights Council's 25th session. He had productive meetings with the members of the UN Commission of Inquiry on Human Rights in North Korea, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Navi Pillay, and other officials. He returned to Washington, I should say, on March 19th. As Ambassador King said in Geneva, we strongly support the Commission's final report and its calls for accountability. In Geneva, we have urged the Office of the High Commissioner to establish a field-based mechanism for continued monitoring and documenting human rights abuses in North Korea, which will carry on the investigative work of the Commission and support the work of the Special Rapporteur. More broadly, we are still considering possible next steps. We look forward to supporting a strong Human Rights Council North Korea resolution that pursues actions that lay the groundwork to hold North Korea accountable for its continuing and systematic violation of human rights.